These celebrities have absolutely lost it on camera and they really don't want you to know about it, but let's get into it, shall we? Kanye West and Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan went from condemning to fawning over Kanye West in an interview on his Piers Uncensored show, praising the rapper, even after West said he was absolutely not sorry for his anti-Semitic remarks. The rapper calls Morgan a Karen, adding, "You don't hold accountability to my pain." Morgan replied by saying, "I'm not a Karen and I'm not going to cancel you and I'm not going to censor you. I'm simply going to challenge you on what you're saying." As Morgan tries to call out West on his anti-Semitic remarks and that, it is basically racism, West denies it. He eventually gets so mad and storms out, leaving Piers alone to wrap up the interview by himself. R. Kelly and Gayle King interview. When Gayle King interviewed R. Kelly on CBS this morning, among the questions King asked during the 80-minute interview was about a stop Kelly made after his February 25th release from a weekend in jail on SA charges. In the interview, which was Kelly's first since he was arrested, the singer is at times emotional and at other times very explosive. You can see him get up from his seat, have a tantrum. He says he's basically fighting for his life, and he had a big old crocodile tears running down his face while Gayle tried to calm him down. It was just another low point and moment for him, providing the internet with unlimited content for memes and jokes on Saturday Night Live. Charlie Sheen. In a rather strange interview with ABC in February of 2011, the actor blasted Two and a Half Men creator Chuck Lorre and proclaimed he was not bipolar but bi-winning. He also called Lorre a turd and a clown, and during this interview Charlie Sheen explains that he has tiger blood, and when he was asked the last time he used, he said, "I don't use, but I do use a blender and I use a vacuum cleaner," but ultimately he said he just can't remember the last time he used any illegal substances. From beginning to end, Sheen seems to celebrate his very obvious meltdown, leading many to fear for his actual physical and psychological health. Now, despite the controversy surrounding that whole interview, it gained him further popularity and actually gave the show the highest rating of the night. Boxer Mike Tyson went off on Toronto CP24 reporter Nathan Downer during a live interview. Downer brought up that the former athlete had met up with Toronto Mayor Rob Ford at the time and basically asked Tyson whether he thought his criminal record could damage his reputation of the mayor, who, by the way, actually admitted to smoking illegal substances during one of his drunken stupors. Tyson seemed very calm at first, but what came out of his mouth proved that the news host really got under his skin. He said to Downer, "You're being negative. You're really a piece of ish. F you." Now, Downer reminded Tyson that he was on live TV, but that didn't seem to faze the boxer, who basically responded saying, "I don't care. What are you going to do about it?" Now, the CP24 reporter tried to change the subject to Tyson's one-man show, Mike Tyson Undisputed Truth, but the celeb wasn't having it and continued to curse at Downer, calling him a rat piece of ish, and that was pretty much the end of the interview. Chris Brown. In 2011, his Good Morning America appearance began with a smile, but he ultimately left angry and shirtless. The interview itself is very brief, with Robin Roberts focusing mostly on Brown's past and public image rather than his new album, which is what he was there to promote. Now, on camera, Brown stays focused. He even performs a song, but backstage, however, things took a turn and went sour when Roberts began, a conversation again asking about Rihanna. Now, the interview came 2 years after he pled guilty to charges, and Chris Brown was clearly not pleased that his past just, kept being brought up. So Brown didn't appreciate Robin Roberts prying about the situation with Rihanna at all and all the hate he got. So he had a very public meltdown. Brown basically stormed backstage after the whole interview was done, ripped his shirt off, and smashed a window with a chair, causing it to shatter and, for shards of glass to basically fall on the street. Security was called to the scene, but by the time they actually arrived, a shirtless Brown was just already headed out the door. The Bee Gees. In 1997, during their appearance on Clive Anderson All Talk, the Bee Gees found themselves at the receiving end of the host's jokes about their music. Within mere seconds of commencing the interview, Clive likened the group's distinctive high falsetto to Mickey Mouse and humorously suggested that the Bee Gees, renowned hitmakers, were only one letter shy of being hit writers. Now, the breaking point for Barry Gibb and his brothers, Rob Robin and Maurice came when the host actually forgot their hit records, prompting them to basically stand up and abruptly leaving the show. Joan Rivers. In 2014, the late Joan Rivers made headlines when she very dramatically exited a CNN interview. Now, CNN host Frederica Whitfield was accusing Joan of being mean in some of her harsh fashion critiques, which appeared to ruffle the comedian's feathers. Now, Frederica continued to challenge Joan as she said, "You're not really worried about feelings getting hurt." To which, Joan replied saying, "Well, not when it's about dresses. It's not about them. It's about the clothing," not backing down basically on her questioning. Now, touching on sensitive topics, appearing in Joan's book that she was promoting at the time, the guest made a very abrupt exit. But before abruptly walking out of her interview, Joan yelled at the interviewer and said, "Stop it with your mean this, your mean that. You are not the one to interview a person who does humor. Sorry." And she basically stormed out, left the interviewer shocked and in disbelief, asking, "Is this real?" Gary Coleman. Volatile performer Gary Coleman got himself back in the news again after walking off in the middle of an interview on The Insider. Now, Coleman refused to answer a question asked by panelist and attorney Lisa Bloom as to whether he has a toxic relationship with his wife. He suggested it was ridiculous as he is 4'7" and his wife is 5'6". He let it rip on Bloom before storming away, which was kind of unhelpful when you're trying to deny stories that suggest you may have issues in your relationship. The former Diff'rent Strokes star was arrested on an outstanding warrant after police received a domestic disturbance call from his house. It follows just though a string of stories in the media over domestic issues and run-ins with the law for him. Jennifer Lawrence appeared to have had a very stern word with a journalist who was using his phone during her winner's press conference at the Golden Globes. Now, the actress, who at the time won Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy for David O. Russell's film Joy, was speaking to a crowded room of reporters backstage when the moment occurred. The journalist in question was Juan Pablo Fernandez Fio, who was covering the LA event for E! News. Now, as he began to ask his question, Lawrence interrupted, wagging her finger at him, saying, "You can't just live your life behind your phone, bro. You can't do that. You've got to live in the now." Now, as the crowd laughed, of course, Fernandez Fio apologized before continuing. He said, "How do you see yourself for Oscar night?" Now, interrupting him again, Lawrence said, "We're at the Golden Globes. If you put your phone down, you'd know that." Now, it is believed that the reporter, who can be heard speaking with a very strong accent, was reading a question from his phone. While the reason behind the phone usage is uncertain, the reporter's Twitter account is full of retweets slamming the actress's actions. Was this one joke just a little too far for the actress? I mean, I think, yeah, because people took to social media to express their outrage and disgust over the situation, calling her rude. Billie Joe Armstrong. Now, if for 1 minute you thought Billie Joe Armstrong was Justin Bieber, he certainly put you straight at the 2012 iHeartRadio Festival. There's still quite some argument about what led to this rock star's outburst, but the general, gist is that Armstrong and his band Green Day had been allotted a 45-minute set at the event, only to have their time cut short because Usher took up too much. If true, then it clearly didn't go down well with him. Armstrong launched into a very explosive-filled tirade that ended with him smashing his guitar on stage. The band later apologized, of course, for the incident, but we gotta say it was very rock and roll. Last but not least, we have David Hasselhoff. Now, in 2007, a video surfaced showing a very drunk and shirtless David Hasselhoff struggling to eat a hamburger while lying on the floor. These things all came together to form a recipe of pure WTF am I watching. Now, it turned out the Baywatch star's daughter, Taylor Ann, had made the video to show her dad the seriousness of his drinking problem. While it was not a fun experience for the Hoff, he later said the video played a very pivotal role in his recovery journey and acknowledged that the public exposure served as kind of a wake-up call. As you watch the former Baywatch star at his absolute worst, you can hear his daughter pleading with him to stop drinking as he very clumsily eats the burger while sprawled out on the floor. So yeah, deeply undignified. The video, was a form of tough love. And, Hasselhoff was attempting to recover from his substance disorder, but, he was actually caught mid-relapse during what ended up being one heck of a meme-worthy wake-up call circle. Now, Hasselhoff's battles with, substance abuse go back to at least 2002 when he first entered rehab. So he briefly lost visitation rights after that video surfaced, but he since has had them restored. Now, as of this year, reports indicate that he remains committed to his sobriety.
A viral video showed Justin Bieber performing on stage with SZA to her 2022 hit Snooze. Now, he was seen singing with his eyes closed as SZA approached him and touched his chin and sang, "You just too important, nobody do body like you do." Now, Justin responded by smiling, grabbing her hand and kissing it before she walked away. Now, several people took to social media to praise SZA's warm gesture towards Justin, as others were concerned for Justin's health, as some suspected that he had been using substances before the performance. Fans commented, "Justin ain't been the same since he had his baby," while another reacted, "He is not well." But people online are actually claiming that all of this was Justin cheating on Hailey. Now, Hailey, for the most part, hasn't said anything about this, but a source told Radar Online, Hailey is clearly cutting ties with Justin and making a point of going on solo outings. But this was such a glamorous party at a time when Justin is also off on his own. Everyone thinks she's secretly celebrating their split. Now, on the weekend after this incident, Hailey went out and partied without Justin as she joined Khloe Kardashian and Kendall Jenner to celebrate Kylie Jenner's clothing brand, Kai. Now, on the weekend, Kylie shared videos and pictures from the event, with Hailey seen smiling and holding a drink as she danced. Now, she appeared to leave the function early though, and she was later photographed leaving the venue, with a body language expert suggesting that she seemed sad. Now, all of this comes after Hailey recently got her first Vogue cover and opened up about motherhood and the constant backlash and divorce rumors that she deals with. However, her husband Justin ruined all of this for her and made it about himself. He made a controversial post on Instagram sharing her cover, and he wrote that he once told her that she'd never get a Vogue cover, and that he was sadly mistaken. Justin said on Instagram, "Yo, this reminds me when Hailey and I got into a huge fight. I told Hales that she would never be on the cover of Vogue. Yikes, I know, so mean. For some reason, because I felt so disrespected, though I gotta get even." He added, "Think as we mature, we realize we're not helping anything by getting even. We're honestly just prolonging what we really want, which is intimacy and connection. So baby, you already know, but forgive me for saying you wouldn't get a Vogue cover, cause clearly I was sadly mistaken." Now, everyone feels really bad for Hailey after this, and Justin actually faced a lot of backlash after this post. Now, eventually, Justin changed his caption to a bunch of emojis, but everyone remembers what he said, and it was just plain up disrespectful. Recently, a clip has resurfaced of JLo, and it has gone viral. The clip in question, well, she spits her gum into her assistant's hand. Yeah, and that's not only rude, but it's honestly just gross. It seems like in between takes while filming a movie, she wanted to have fresher breath, so she started chewing some gum. But when the cameras are ready to roll again, she can't have it, so instead of asking for a tissue or disposing of the gum herself, she has her assistant come over and cup her hands, while JLo leans over and spits out her gum. A 2024 clip from the Met Gala went viral for Jennifer, but it was for all the wrong reasons. In a clip shared on TikTok, USA Today reporter Anika Reed was on the famous Met stairs when she innocently asked JLo, who was one of the co-chairs that year, "Who are you wearing tonight?" as she walks past. Now, JLo barely looked at her and gave a monotone answer of Chaparli while she continued to go up the stairs, ignoring every other reporter waiting to talk to her. Now, people in the comments were quick to call out Jennifer for her rude behavior. One user said, "Ew, why does she have that attitude?" Yeah, fans weren't too happy with the singer's behavior at all. Now, before J-Lo and Ben Affleck got divorced, she wrote a whole album and made a movie based on their love story. Here's the thing though, she also made a documentary about all of this, but the doc was actually named after a scrapbook that Ben gifted Jennifer for Christmas in 2021, stacked with every letter and email they'd written to each other over the last 20 years. Now, Jennifer showed the book to her producers and songwriters on the first day of making her new album, without asking or even telling Ben. "It became like our Bible," she says in the doc. "We just left it in the studio, and this revelation comes within the first 5 minutes of the doc, and right out of the gate, Ben isn't shy about his discomfort." Ben shared that he was taken aback when Jen shared with songwriters the private love letters he wrote to her to serve as inspiration for her upcoming album, This Is Me Now. Later on, he says, "Things that are private, I always felt are sacred and special because, in part, they're private." And J-Lo was also spotted being rude to the paparazzi and her fans. It seems like she came out of a store and everyone was waiting for her. She started to do a paparazzi walk, but was not smiling at all and was pretty much ignoring fans. Now, in the video, she continually says, "Please leave," but continues to pose for photos. Now, after one of the paps asks her a question, she turns away angrily and heads back to her car. As they follow her, she says, "That's enough, you got your pictures," and said that it's hard to love these people as they always mob her. Now, it's not her best look, and some claim she may have been having an off day, but she was definitely giving mixed signals and didn't have to be so rude, especially to all her loving fans.
Kris Jenner and Corey Gamble's relationship has always raised eyebrows, but now fans are convinced the two are in serious trouble after being caught on camera fighting in public. The video is already spreading across social media, and it has people asking, are Kris and Corey on the verge of breaking up? Well, the footage shows Kris and Corey leaving a high-end restaurant in Los Angeles, but instead of their usual polished, united front, the two appeared a little bit tense. Cameras caught Kris walking ahead of Corey at first, visibly frustrated, while Corey actually trailed behind, now trying to speak to her. At one point, Kris is actually seen shaking her head and waving her hand dismissively as Corey kind of leaned in, clearly attempting to explain himself. Now, viewers immediately picked up on the body language. This wasn't just a minor disagreement, it looked like a full-blown argument that they couldn't hide. I mean, the timing of this fight is what really has people talking though. Kris has been juggling her role as momager for the Kardashians, handling Kylie's latest business moves and Kim's nonstop career projects, while also, being a grandmother to like a dozen kids or so. Now, sources say the constant spotlight and pressure of managing a billion-dollar empire puts a strain on her relationship with Corey. Now, for years, people have speculated that Corey, who, again, let's remind you, is almost 25 years younger than Kris, doesn't always fit seamlessly into her fast-paced Hollywood lifestyle. And now with this footage and, the recent events like the wedding footage in Venice for Jeff Bezos, all of that, it seems like the tension, has finally boiled over now. Fans, also pointing out that Corey and Kris fights, it's not anything new. This isn't a new thing. They've done it a lot. And on earlier seasons of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Corey actually clashed with Kourtney and Scott Disick, creating a ripple effect of drama inside the family. Kris often had to defend her boyfriend while trying to keep peace amongst her children. So seeing Kris, visibly upset with Corey in public, it has people wondering, maybe she's finally fed up. Maybe she doesn't want to do this anymore. Now, what's even more telling is Kris's reaction when paparazzi started flashing cameras during the argument. Normally, Kris is the queen of keeping her cool in front of paparazzi especially, but this time, she looked a little annoyed, almost caught off guard, which suggests the fight was not staged or for publicity. Now, in Kardashian world, everything is usually calculated, but this moment looked raw, real, and kind of unfiltered. I mean, social media exploded with comments. Some fans are convinced this is the beginning of the end for the couple, while others believe it's just a normal lover's quarrel that kind of went down at the wrong place, wrong time kind of thing. Now, either way, the fact that their relationship cracks are playing out kind of in front of paparazzi cameras in real time means things might be worse than they want the world to know. The Kardashian-Jenner brand thrives on image and control. If Kris and Corey are truly falling apart, the ripple effect on the family dynamic could be massive. Kris has built an empire keeping everything in order support her, but what happens when her own personal life starts to look messy? That's what fans are trying to find out, and the latest fight just gave everyone a glimpse behind the curtain. One thing's for sure, Kris Jenner may be the mastermind behind the Kardashian dynasty, but even she can't hide relationship drama when the cameras catch her off guard. Whether this was just a heated moment or the start of a bigger breakdown, Kris and Kourtney's relationship is once again front page news, and people can't stop watching.
Will Smith's actions at the 2022 Oscars had repercussions no one could have predicted. You had to know we start with this one. The actor was once Hollywood royalty, a big name, the kind of name to draw audiences in, but now he just pushes them away, unfortunately. That slap at the Oscars resulted in a 10-year ban, plus he lost out on future projects. Even projects he was already signed onto, he was reported to have lost or had to have taken like a step back and onto more of like a producer role, just kind of behind the scenes stuff. Then there was the whole thing that happened with his family life because of it. The whole reason the incident happened in the first place was because Chris Rock made a joke about Jada that she didn't appreciate, and Will was, I guess, like protecting her, but Jada later revealed that her and Will weren't even together at the time. The moment it happened in a room full of the most influential people in the entertainment industry, and everybody had something to say about it after. Celebrities were posting left and right about how they didn't feel safe even if they weren't involved in the incident at all. It's unfortunate, but the actor is now more known for this one action than his entire acting career. J-Lo's new documentary and her behavior at the Met Gala have many people choosing to let the star go for good. J-Lo has a history of being rude on camera, at least that's what some people have gathered from videos that have gone viral on various social media sites. She also allegedly has a reputation among service workers to not treat them very well and even retract a large tip should her husband, Ben Affleck, leave one. This is unconfirmed, of course, but multiple people have shared similar stories online. Now the public's attention is on a video of J-Lo at this year's Met Gala. In the video, you can see J-Lo ascending the Met Gala steps right beside the interviewers positioned on the sidelines. These interviewers, they are ready with their questions and ready to capture answers with their cameras. Anika Reed was one of the interviewers on the side. She is famous on TikTok with over 38,000 followers. Those 38,000 followers and more were graced with a clip of J-Lo that night, and the clip was quickly torn apart. In the video, you can hear Anika ask who J-Lo is wearing, and with barely a glance to the side, J-Lo says a quick scaparelli before continuing up the steps. Those who viewed the video did not appreciate the singer's actions, many saying the interaction was rude. When J-Lo is compared to other celebs that night, she does admittedly appear a little bit colder. Other celebs answered Anika's questions with a big smile or at least more than one word. The J-Lo video currently has over 17 million views on TikTok. J-Lo's new documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told, is digging a deeper hole for the performer. The documentary is all about J-Lo creating her movie, and that movie is music-based, so there is dancing. J-Lo wanted the best of the best to choreograph that dancing. She wanted Derek Huff. The problem was Derek Huff was unavailable because he was in a wedding, his wedding. On camera, when J-Lo found out he couldn't come, even when she found out the reason, she still insisted on contacting him and even made a point to say that they would only need him for a few days. Thankfully, no weddings were moved, but filming dates were. Huff revealed in an interview that Lopez worked around him and not the other way around. One would think Kanye West would have been out of the game from his stunt at the 2009 VMAs, but nope. Turns out making controversial statements a decade later, not always backed up by trustworthy sources, would be the deal breaker. West was caught on camera at the first campaign event he'd had for his failed presidential run, saying some things about history that came off as not true at all. He was heavily criticized for them by his community and those outside of it for the words he said. Since then, he has gone on numerous worrying Twitter rants and made some scary comments about his family, and of course, divorced Kim K. Recently, West did release a new album, but even that had its hardships. The album was put up but then taken down from Apple Music soon after due to copyright issues. Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake's Super Bowl performance was incredibly career damaging, but only for one of them. During their halftime performance, Janet was supposed to do a big costume reveal. All Justin Timberlake had to do was rip off a piece of her shirt to reveal like a bralette. However, he managed to rip off everything, and Jackson was exposed to the thousands of fans in the stadium and millions watching at home. Somehow, the after effects were worse than the moment though. Jackson took all the heat for the mistake, and Justin managed to pretty much walk free. Janet Jackson later went on to tell the public what was supposed to happen, that her goal was not to expose herself to all of America, but lots of people were still skeptical. Her music was blacklisted from radio stations, her career took a major hit, and has never fully recovered. Which sucks, because she is super talented and now has to deal with all of that while dealing with the fact that millions of people saw her in that vulnerable state. She told USA Today that the situation was truly embarrassing. The general public is still divided about whether or not this whole thing was planned or not, so let me know in the comments what you think. Miley is back in the game and winning Grammys, but she was once the internet's person to hate. The reason people started to dislike the Hannah Montana star was because she made such a major shift in image, a shift that was much more mature and over the top than anything anyone had seen from her, and people felt uncomfortable. Miley's performance at the MTV Video Music Awards with Robin Thicke back in 2013 was unforgettable, and many even said inappropriate. Miley performed with a nude set on, so if you weren't looking at her very closely, you might mistakenly think she was unclothed, but that wasn't even the thing that people had an issue with during the performance. The big controversy was what Miley did with a foam finger she was performing with. The star made suggestive movements with it, things that are usually not supposed to happen on live TV. Even the inventor of an early version of the foam finger weighed in, saying Cyrus took an honorable icon that is seen in sporting venues everywhere and degraded it. It took a while after the incident for Cyrus's career to recover, but she's now back on top of the world, and one of her more recent performances, the performance of Flowers at the Grammys, has gone viral for the right reasons this time. Actually no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. The words that caused the downfall of one of the most famous talk show hosts in history. Dakota Johnson visited the Ellen set that day for what was supposed to be a routine interview, but left having made a career catch fire. Ellen is getting on her case for not receiving an invitation, only that wasn't true. Dakota was quick to point out that Ellen was in fact invited, and that she even made a point to invite Ellen this year. See, this same situation had happened before, only Dakota actually didn't invite Ellen the year before. So this time, Dakota was ready to fire back. After this moment, people started looking at Ellen with a magnifying glass. They started noticing how she would subtly insult guests, make guests uncomfortable to the point of crying, scare guests that expressed they did not want to be scared. Then stories from people that worked on the Ellen show started coming out. People were claiming that the talk show host was not as kind as she claimed to be. Pretty soon, Ellen lost all public favor and has not been able to gain it back. Matt Rife is another comedian that has lost the majority of his fame. He was super popular on TikTok. Pretty soon, he had a deal with Netflix, and his Netflix special was set to premiere in November of 2023. The premiere is where the trouble started. His special, Natural Selection, opens with a joke about DV. The internet did not appreciate that so-called joke, many people wondering why Matt felt the need to be punching down instead of up. Usually a scandal as big as this prompts people to make a public apology, which Rife did do. He posted an apology link on his Instagram story with the text, "If you've ever been offended by a joke I've told, here's a link to my official apology." But it was a prank. The link actually would send people to a health website, specifically to a page where you can buy special needs helmets. This is real, and no, he still has not apologized. In fact, at a comedy show held after the special aired, Rife acknowledged the situation by saying, "If anybody here has come to a comedy show at a comedy club with even the possibility of being offended by a joke, it's located right outside that exit door over there. Go and see yourself out. No one's gonna stop you." As the controversy was unfolding, there were a bunch of people online weighing in on the issue. One was a little boy who just said that Matt was mean to girls, and Matt decided that this boy was who he wanted to go up against and commented, "Santa Claus isn't real. Your mom buys you presents with the money she makes on OF. Good luck." The comment was deleted, but screenshots, they live forever. Colleen Ballinger destroyed her career in the time it would take you to perform a self-written song on the ukulele. I know that was a really specific measure of time, but that was what she did. Colleen was a really popular YouTuber from like 2010 to 2023. She also had a Netflix special, and her YouTube was mainly known for posting videos using the character Miranda Sings. The Sings persona is a satire of bad singers with big egos, which the irony is hilarious. The character was incredibly popular on YouTube and on Vine when that was a thing. Her career took off. Her audience was mainly younger, and she did not always behave super appropriately with these younger fans. As early as 2020, allegations were coming out about Colleen creating an inappropriate relationship with fans, fans, but everything really came crashing down in 2023. More allegations were coming out, screenshots were being shared, and pretty soon Colleen's live gigs and guest appearances were being cancelled left and right. Colleen decided the way to address this very serious situation was to defend herself by singing on the ukulele. Why did she choose to sing? I'm so glad you asked. She revealed that she was advised by her team to not speak on the issue, but they didn't say she couldn't sing. The video wasn't received well. A few months later, she posted a speaking apology for the song, but people were pretty much done with her at that point. She's still vlogging, just not to as big of an audience. One of the more famous talk show blunders to have ever happened has to be Kelly Osbourne on The View in 2015. This is right around the 2016's election campaign, and a certain candidate is making some charged statements about marginalized groups. The conversation during that 2015 View appearance shifted to talking about this event, and Osbourne says the now famous quote, "If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet?" As many people have pointed out online, you can tell that she said this with confidence. Some people think she said it like she was expecting others to back her up and the audience to applaud. Obviously, none of that happened. Years later, Osbourne revisited the situation and said that her comment that day was the worst thing she's ever done, and that she'd be lying if she didn't hate herself a little bit more each time she sees the video. The most recent person to ruin their career on camera would have to be Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs. The football player has been making headlines for a few days now for the speech he made at a graduation. The speech was centered around outdated ideas on how women should act in society and mean-spirited comments about various marginalized communities. Those defending what the football player said usually bring up the fact that he was making a speech at a Catholic school known for similar views sometimes. However, that argument falls through because the founding institution of the school has now publicly denounced his speech. In a statement posted to their Facebook page, the sisters wrote, "The Sisters of Mount St. Scholastica do not believe in Harrison Butker's comments in his 2024 Benedictine College commencement address represent the Catholic Benedictine liberal arts college that our founders envisioned and in which we have been so invested. Instead of promoting unity in our church, our nation, and the world, his comments seem to have fostered division."
Number 10. Taylor Swift versus E.T. If there is one thing that should be known about Taylor Swift, it's that she can end entire careers with one conversation. In 2015, Taylor was on the red carpet for the Grammy Awards, where she was interviewed by Entertainment Tonight. The woman who interviewed her started the interview by asking her cameraman to pan up and down and literally check Taylor out with a massive camera, which, that's not weird at all. After going along with the bit and telling the camera about the dress, the interviewer then said that she honestly just wanted to look at Taylor's legs because, as she said before the show, Taylor is going to be going home with more than a trophy, perhaps a man. Well, Taylor didn't appreciate that comment or the assumption. She did not laugh and proceeded to tell the interviewer that she would be going home, but just not with any men. She just wanted to go hang out with friends and then maybe home to her cats. While the majority of the interview went well, the interviewers were reprimanded behind the scenes by Taylor herself and her team, and the news of Taylor's dislike for the interviewers made its way up to the top, where the ET executives decided to keep these people off the red carpet for a while. Remember, keep your creepy camera gestures to yourself, lady. Number 9. Vitaly Sedgwick versus everyone. This man has done some truly disgusting things to people for the sake of views. He's grabbed people's legs, attempted to force himself on people. He was even arrested after running on the stage at the Grammys. But his most explosive interaction, and the one that really sealed his fate, was his interaction with Will Smith. Will was walking the red carpet in 2013, giving people interviews, when Ukrainian comedian Vitaly Sedgwick approached him, a man who is unfortunately world famous for being an absolute horror to celebrities. He pretended to be a reporter and started to walk towards Will and tried to give him a kiss on the cheek and mouth. Well, Will obviously shoved him backwards and gave him a little "hey buddy," and then just gave him a little backhand to the face. A team of security following Mr. Smith picked this guy up off the ground and carried him away like a toddler, which he is. Who knew Will was practicing for his Oscar slap all the way back then? Sedgwick was finally reprimanded for his actions, and he was actually made to pay a hefty fine for attempting to force himself on Will Smith, but needless to say, this guy works for himself now and security knows his face. Number 8. Amy Schumer versus Kim and Kanye. In the mid-2010s, comedian Amy Schumer was named one of Time People's top 100 most most influential people and was made to attend a red carpet event to celebrate with her fellow influencers. Two of whom were Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, the power couple of the century. While discussing the incident on the Graham Norton show, she revealed that the whole thing was a planned prank on Kim and Ye. Her goal was to get them to crack a smile and get some good fun pictures from the event, but Kim and Kanye did not find the situation funny and continued to walk past Amy as she fell in front of them. The best picture is just Kim staring at Amy for a moment, being like, oh my god, is that really happening? While the moment was meant to create a fun scene, it instead made Amy look like she had a grudge towards Kim and Kanye. Now, while not an interview, the incident on the red carpet forced Comedy Central to postpone a season of her show until things were sorted out with Kim, and it turned out not only did Kim not care, but she actually did end up finding this kind of funny in the end. With the two apparently now being close friends, Amy even made a cameo on Kim's new show, The Kardashians. Number 7, Hugh Grant versus handcuffs. While attending the Dutch premiere of his rom-com Music and Lyrics, Hugh Grant got the shock of a lifetime after a fan got way too excited and took their admiration to a whole new level. Television journalist Silka Sibin approached Grant and he thought that it was an interview, but then she handcuffed herself to him. For about 10 minutes, the patient but frustrated Hugh Grant just waited and watched while several people started snapping pictures left and right. After the fire department finally released them, Sibin was taken away by police. While this may have seemed like your average Hollywood interaction, the news stations she worked for did not appreciate this gag. She was fired from that station, making 2 reporters taken down by the Hugh Meister in his career. Hugh Meister? I don't know. Let's use it. Number 6, Jim Carrey versus the world. Jim Carrey is known for his hilarious personality on and off screen, but he gave Kat Sadler from E! News and Daily Pop an awkward interview on the red carpet at Harper's Bazaar Party in 2017. The interaction started with Jim slowly circling Kat as she attempts to express her confusion and excitement that Jim Carrey is at a Fashion Week event. Was the man known for being an incredible artist bringing that talent to the fashion world? No! He was just mad. By 2017, Jim had made a name for himself as an oddly serious guy who tended to venture into the realm of energies and universal concepts when he gets into deep conversations. He started this conversation with, "This is meaningless." He continued to say that he wanted to find the most meaningless thing he could attend that night. That event was a celebration of icons and celebrities, according to Kat, to which Jim said that he didn't agree, as in he doesn't agree with the concept of icons. He continues to give a small speech about not believing people are really real, that we're all just a field of energy, and that peace lies beyond personality, man. The entire time the interview is taking place, Kat is just visibly uncomfortable and just counting down to the moment that Jim says something funny or even remotely related to fashion, but instead he just shares his thoughts, tells her she has a nice fragrance, and walks away. While Jim's career had already started to slow down at that point, this clip became viral and studios were wondering if he might be a good fit for anything. A lot of scripts with his name on them were rewritten or just simply kept to themselves, right up until 2020 when he made a comeback in the surprisingly fun Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So here's hoping for a third one sometime soon. Bjork versus the Oscars. Next up on our list is not only the most memorable outfit from any award show, but it's also the strangest. In 2001, musician Bjork made an appearance at the Academy Awards where she was nominated for Best Original Song from Dancer in the Dark. She appeared on the red carpet with a massive swan draped over herself, and while thankfully not a real swan carcass just, drenched over her shoulders, the dress was a creation from designer Marjan Bajowski, meaning someone took the time and effort to make this dress. Thankfully, I'm not the only person who thought this was a little bit of a weird choice. A lot of comments from that evening include people calling her a duck, claiming she should be institutionalized, and one celebrity just kind of looked at her and was like, In the years that followed, the dress was parodied several times. Ellen DeGeneres and Kevin James even wore the same outfits on the Academy stage a few years later to attempt to poke fun at Bjork, but all they did was look silly and make the world giggle. Number 4, Mayim Bialik versus E.T. Mayim is a hilarious woman, okay? She is best known these days for her role as Amy Farrah Fowler on The Big Bang Theory and for being an absolute slayer on the red carpet. For those who don't know, she has a legitimate background as a neuroscientist. She started out as an actor when she was like 12 years old, appearing in commercials and sitcoms in the 80s, but as time went on, she shifted her focus from acting to math and science, and actually went to school for neuroscience and Hebrew studies before going straight into a PhD program. She actually met someone in school that she fell in love with and divorced, and is the mother of 2 younglings with. This woman is awesome. Even more awesome was her response to a bit of a rough question, and under-researched one at that. So the interviewers clearly didn't prep for this red carpet event, but meant nothing by this question. Mayim was asked if people thought that she could solve calculus in real time at the drop of a hat. She responded by reminding the interviewers that she actually did train in calculus for years because she's a neuroscientist, and both of the hosts just looked horrified and said, well, a little tidbit to the audience, hey, she really is a neuroscientist. Over 300,000 people watched that happen, and the responses were mixed. Some people felt that it was just a little bit of a mix-up, but a lot of people bashed the interviewers for not doing the bare minimum before asking her a question like that on live TV. They continued to be hosts, but now when people know Mayim is on her way to the red carpet, research is priority number 1. Number 3, the Oscars in 2012. The Oscars red carpet saw a couple of really fun moments in 2012, mostly caused by Sacha Baron Cohen. First thing that happened was Ryan Seacrest doing his best when suddenly Sacha appeared with an entourage and fully decked out in his General Aladdin gear from the film The Dictator. He was telling Ryan that he wanted to come tonight and spread the ashes of his fallen friend and doubles tennis partner Kim Jong-il. The situation got heated after Sacha dropped Kim's ashes all over Ryan. Ryan brushed them off quite literally and honestly took the situation in stride. He was just smiling and trying to get the substance off of himself. Ryan admitted at first he wasn't sure if there was anything in that urn, and he knew Sacha was gonna do something, but there was 100% something in that can. The best part though came after the situation when the cleaning crew came over to vacuum up the mess, and did it while Jason Segel was making his way through the crowd. The person cleaning the mess ignored him and just vacuumed over his feet. Jason is shocked and takes a step back, and there was also a wardrobe malfunction for Jennifer Lopez, who accidentally had a tip slip when she was presenting Best Costume Design. There have been many shocking Oscar moments over the years, but the 2012 red carpets and its, ceremony were just a bit much. Thankfully though, it was a memorable night, no questions asked. Number 2, Gary Busey versus Jennifer Garner. Gary Busey is an interesting and controversial fella in his own right. He was a big movie star and then arrested, and then he became everyone's sleep paralysis demon. I'm sorry, I got a little scared there for a sec. In 2008, he gave the world a little heads up that he might not be all there upstairs, because Jennifer Garner, best known for Elektra or her new film The Family Switch, which is not great, was on the red carpet making her way to her seat when suddenly she was approached by Gary. Someone asked him if he knew or had met Jennifer before, and without saying anything, he just leaned in and kissed her on the neck. Her face is one of pure shock and confusion. When Gary did not immediately step back, she called for her husband at the time, Ben Affleck, to step in between them. Busey has been blacklisted from Hollywood for a lot of reasons, but this is just one of the many examples why. And at number 1, John Travolta versus Idina Menzel. A while back in 2014, John Travolta flubbed the name of one of the most famous women in musical theater history. Is at the Oscars that year, he was supposed to introduce Idina Menzel ahead of her performance of Let It Go, because she was, Elsa from Frozen, fun fact, but she was also Elphaba, the musical Wicked, and a ton of other shows. She's just incredible. But for this event, she was promoting Frozen and showcasing a piece of music that ended up getting stuck in everyone's head for the rest of their lives. Please help me. And John Travolta was just so confident in his delivery of her name. He introduced the audience to the wickedly talented, one and only Adele Dazeem. The moment spawned a lot of parody Twitter accounts and even an Adele Dazeem name generator that turned people like Jared Leto into Jed Lopez, which I think is better, and Matthew McConaughey into Michael Mazzoline. That sounds like an X-rated superstar, you know what I mean? The following year, the two appeared on stage together where Idina decided to drop a little revenge. She was set to introduce the next round of nominees, and as a little joke, the Oscars decided to bring her and John onto the stage together. She introduced John by his new name, Gulam Gazingo, and the interaction between them was a little forced, but it was nice to see that they played the whole thing off for fun instead of making it an actual incident. And since then, John triple checks things before he goes on stage, which Better safe than sorry.
But first up, we have Conor McGregor and Machine Gun Kelly. It's difficult to tell exactly what happened between mixed martial artist slash UFC fighter Conor McGregor and rapper Machine Gun Kelly just before the MTV VMAs in 2021, but one video of the incident, which already had 1.5 million views by the next morning, showed a man in a suit on the red carpet holding back Conor McGregor, who then approached a large group of people, including Kelly and his then girlfriend, actress Megan Fox. All of a sudden, a large gasp went up from the crowd and several handlers grabbed Kelly and pulled him away. People started yelling, "Run, run, run," and "Where's Megan?" The couple was surrounded by security as they were swiftly led away from the group. "Go this way, get her out this way," one woman commanded, steering the clearly distressed actress into a less crowded corner of the carpet. Photos and video immediately started circulating on social media. Wow. "What happened?" asked Entertainment Tonight correspondent Rachel Smith when she saw McGregor. "Absolutely nothing," McGregor said. "I don't even know the guy, to be honest with you. Nothing happened with me. I only fight real fighters, people that actually fight. You know what I mean? I certainly don't fight little vanilla boy rappers. I don't even know the guy. I don't know anything about him except that he's with Megan Fox." Interesting. Our next red carpet feud involves J-Lo and Ben Affleck. The couple is known to be quite feisty with one another, and that remained true during the red carpet for J-Lo's movie premiere, Mother. After the premiere, photos of Affleck and Lopez fighting and what looked like yelling at each other circulated quickly online, and fans kept wondering, what are they saying to each other? Well, a lip reader has revealed what Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez have said, and honestly, it's pretty funny. A lip reader told the Daily Mail the couple, who appeared frustrated and irritated at times, were merely debating poses and positioning for the red carpet. The expert said that during the now viral exchange, Lopez appeared to ask Affleck whether her low-cut top was showing too much, prompting him to respond, quote, "It's fine." After finding their joint pose, Affleck appeared to tell his wife to come closer to him before leaning into her ear saying, "Don't worry, babe." Our next red carpet feud involves Ariana Grande and the red carpet photographers. At the 2016 Billboard Music Awards, things got pretty heated. While Ariana was walking the red carpet, numerous photographers were shouting at Ariana in order to get her to look into their camera lens. Ariana looked absolutely beautiful, but the constant shouting of "look over here" must have put her in a bad mood. After one photographer yelled, "Ariana, you aren't looking," she yelled back with, "Yeah, and what about it?" She then did a hair flip and strutted to another side of the carpet. Our next red carpet disaster involves Aubrey Plaza and Michael Cera. You know Aubrey from shows like Parks and Recreation and White Lotus, and Michael from movies like Molly's Game, Barbie, Superbad, and Juno. The two stars had a viral red carpet spat during the 2010 premiere of their movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. While Aubrey was being interviewed on the carpet, a reporter asked, "So, do you hate Michael Cera as much as your character does?" Aubrey responded with, "If you thought the character was believable, that's because the hatred comes from a very real place." Does that answer your question? Also, let me just say that in most of the scenes I had to curse Michael Cera out, and I had a lot of fun doing it, she says. Soon after, Michael Cera comes up to Aubrey, aggressively grabbing her mic that she was holding. Aubrey responds to him by saying, "Seriously, like, don't do that." The interviewer chimes in by saying, "Wow, there is so much romantic tension here, it is obvious." Aubrey responds by saying, "I have no clue what you're talking about." The hilarious exchange went viral on YouTube, with some commenters saying there are so many levels of irony and sarcasm in this exchange that, quote, "I don't even know what's real anymore." Our next red carpet feud involves Kim K and a random stranger who sabotaged her event. Kardashian was celebrating the launch of her new perfume True Reflection at an event to benefit the charity Dress for Success. As video from E! News shows, a woman walked up to Kim Kardashian, yelled what sounded like "lousy fur hag," and flower bombed the reality star, throwing a bunch of flour at her forehead, covering her entire body. The alleged powder thrower was detained by hotel security, according to the LA Times, but was later released after Kardashian declined to press charges. Kardashian dusted herself off and returned to the event. event. Our next red carpet disaster involves a Will Smith slap. So if you thought I was going to be talking about the infamous Oscar slap from a couple years ago, you are wrong. Because the first time Will Smith gave someone a piece of his mind was a decade before that. It was the year 2012, and the actor was at the movie premiere for his new film, Men in Black 3, when he encountered the insufferable Vitaly Siduk. You know him. Vitaly Siduk is the man whose main mission in life is to wreak havoc among any celebrity he can get his hands on. Will Smith was not his first, nor was he his last. Anyways, at the event, Vitaly seemed to be interviewing Will, and as they finished, he asked for a hug, which Will agreed to because why not? And then Vitaly goes in for a kiss, which was something Will did not agree to. And it'd be easy to feel sorry for the guy until you find out that this man is notorious for his odd behavior, provoking celebrities. The man probably did not expect to get slapped by Will, but he definitely asked for it. Next up, we have Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise did not appreciate being pranked while in the middle of an interview, and he made sure that they knew that loud and clear. During the premiere for his movie War of the Worlds, he thought he was being interviewed by some regular reporter before he was instantly squirted by a water gun mid-sentence. The actor did not hesitate to confront the man, who seemed taken off guard and unsure of how to respond to him. After he asked him why he would do that. Even when the man tries to remove himself from the situation, Tom refuses to let him, even calling him rude and a jerk. Later, we found out that the guy was working with 3 other men, and they all worked under a British network for their show that specializes in pranking celebrities. The joke was on them because the 4 of them were eventually detained by police shortly after, and their company wrote out an apology to Tom Cruise for the incident. This next moment is less of a feud, but more of a really awkward celeb interaction, and it involves Kesha and Jerry Seinfeld. At some red carpet event several years ago, Kesha found herself on the carpet at the same time as Jerry Seinfeld, whom she is a very big fan of. The actor was in the middle of an interview on his own when Kesha intervened. This video was awkward enough on its own, but at least she asked for consent. Kesha asked Jerry for a hug, but Jerry said, no, absolutely not. He later shared that he didn't intend to be rude, he just felt taken aback because she was sprung out of nowhere and he truly didn't know who Kesha was. I just think that this could be a learning lesson for us all. Should Kesha have kept pushing for a hug even after he said no? Probably not. Could Jerry have declined in a nicer way? Yeah, probably. But still, viewers remain divided on this, so whose side are you on? Another awkward red carpet moment involves Tiffany Haddish. When Entertainment Tonight reporter Lorna Zima asked Tiffany about her quote costume change at the 2022 Vanity Fair Oscars after party, the comedian was quick to put the reporter in her place. "I'm not wearing a costume, I'm wearing Dolce & Gabbana," the actress replied. "It's called an evening gown, darling. No one's paying me for this, I paid for it. It's custom." Zima tried to ease the tension with a joke, laughing about her quote time of death, but Haddish wasn't finished. "This is not an acting gig, this is my life. This is what fame looks like. This is what success looks like. This is what money looks like." Haddish went on to praise her friend Will Smith for slapping Oscars host Chris Rock earlier that evening, after Rock publicly mocked Smith's wife and actor Jada Pinkett Smith. Last but not least, we have Jim Carrey versus a red carpet reporter. Now, Jim has been in the public eye for decades for hit movies like Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, and The Truman Show, but perhaps he will be best known for this very interesting red carpet interaction. It's clear that Jim Carrey wasn't thrilled about attending the Harper's Bazaar Icons party in 2017. What's not clear is why he showed up in the first place. There's no meaning to any of this, he told former E! reporter Kat Sandler when asked about his attendance. "I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to tonight, and here I am." The interviewer pressed him about the meaning, or lack thereof, of the word icon, among other topics, but Carrey only continued on an existential rant about the meaning of life. His top what the heck remarks include, "I believe we're a field of energy dancing through itself," and quote,
Number 10, Nigella Lawson and Charles Saatchi. The couple's fight was witnessed by a photographer who stumbled upon celebrity chef Nigella Lawson being choked by none other than her husband, Britain's most high-profile figure, Charles Saatchi.
Versace. The incident all went down during her birthday lunch, and a now infamous photo was captured of the chilling sight. The photographer, who only went by the name Jean-Paul, told Vanity Fair in 2013 that when Charles grabbed his wife's throat, quote, "It was so violent, with such force that her head snapped backward." The story hit the tabloids at full speed and actually served to open up a much-needed conversation about domestic violence. Their relationship was obviously far from perfect, but the intense controversy that the incident sparked was enough to tear them apart forever. That same year, Charles filed for divorce from Nigella after 10 years of marriage. Funnily enough, he later told the Daily Mail that putting his hands on her throat was merely a gesture, and insisted that there was no pressure applied to her. Yeah, right. Number 9. Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. Their 72-day marriage had certainly shown signs that it was going to end quickly. A few days before Kim divorced Kris on day 68, the couple was spotted arguing in their car while out on a dinner date in Hollywood. The newlywed couple were photographed heading back to Kim's car after dinner, and you could visibly see the tension in the air. Kris looked fed up, and Kim was giving her new husband the death stare while yelling and waving her hands at him as the argument began to escalate. This very public fight was indicative that their relationship was on the rocks, because that same year Kim went on to file for divorce and got the marriage annulled. The Los Angeles Times even reported that Kim had only married him to increase ratings on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The best part was that Kris asked for a $7 million divorce settlement from his ex-wife. Otherwise, he threatened to make her endure an ugly public trial. But the NBA star ended up walking away with literally nothing. Number 8. Emma Roberts and Evan Peters. The American Horror Story actors first met on the set of Adult World in 2012, and in the short 4 years since then, the two have shared more drama than some of Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. Toxic doesn't even begin to describe their relationship. We're talking about at least 3 breakups and deleting all social media traces of each other. Early on in their relationship, TMZ reported that the two got into a heated argument while staying at a hotel in Montreal that ended up with both stars getting physical. When police arrived, Peters was found with a bloody nose and bite marks on his body, prompting police to take Emma into custody, arresting her for domestic violence. But her then boyfriend decided not to press charges, and they were back together a few hours later. What's really bizarre is that a couple of days after the fight, photos were shared online of Emma clinging to Evan while sobbing into his arms after news broke of the fight. Paparazzi were even able to capture the two hugging one another, with Emma looking extremely upset the whole time. The incident was a bit of a grey area, but many have labeled it as straight up domestic violence. Number 7. Stephen Amell and Cassandra Jean Amell. The couple have been married since 2012, and all seemed well in public until it didn't. The star of CW's Arrow and his wife got into an altercation on a Delta flight from Austin to Los Angeles that ended up with the actor having to be forcibly removed from the flight. Stephen was reportedly screaming at Cassandra while they were seated on the plane and appeared to be intoxicated when a flight attendant asked him to calm down multiple times. When the fight escalated to the point of no return, the actor had to be restrained and removed by an air marshal and 3 flight attendants that worked together to get him off the plane. His wife did not go with him and instead chose to remain on the flight. Big surprise there. With the incident made public, Stephen took to Twitter to try and explain the whole thing and claimed that his emotions got the better of him. Quote, "My wife and I got into an argument. I was asked to lower my voice and I did. Approximately 10 minutes later, I was asked to leave the flight, and I did so immediately. I was not forcibly removed." The whole thing was really absurd because if they needed 4 people to get him off the flight, something about his side of the story just doesn't add up. Number 6. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. Before the former couple split, their relationship was clearly becoming strained, as The Sun reported that the same year that Jolie filed for divorce, they were spotted in Legoland having a major public spat. Onlookers told the magazine that both stars didn't look happy and looked stern-faced, and photos from the incident show Brad actually grabbing Angelina's arm while she pulls away and appears to be screaming at him. The couple filed for divorce in 2016, citing irreconcilable differences. Now the actors are both learning to co-parent their 6 children after years of custody battles and child support drama. According to Daily Mail, Brad has even been seen visiting Angelina's house to spend time with his kids, so it sounds like they are back on good terms. Number 5. Rihanna and Hassan Jamil. The former couple seemed like they were perfect for each other after rumors swirled that the two were engaged in 2017. Although they managed to keep their relationship very private and didn't post many photos together on social media, photos emerged of the two on a trip to Mexico in 2018 that left many fans wondering if they were done for good. The paparazzi captured photos that painted a picture of Rihanna screaming at her former billionaire boyfriend and angrily pointing her finger at him while they were on the poolside. What's interesting about the photos is that in comparison to Rihanna, Jamil looked very calm and almost passive in the argument, which made the whole thing go viral. Because of all the noise online, the singer took to Instagram and posted a meme of a female lion roaring at a male lion with the caption, quote, "When you think you know more about soccer, hashtag World Cup 2018. But even though she had a good sense of humor about the fight, the couple still ended up splitting up in 2020 because allegedly their lives were just too different and it was too hard to maintain a relationship. Number 4. Nicholas Hoult and Jennifer Lawrence. The couple fell in love with each other when they first met on the set of the X-Men movie series and became co-stars. Jennifer played Mystique and Nicholas portrayed Beast. It all seemed to be going well for the pair until they suddenly split in 2014 after dating for nearly 5 years. They did have a really public fight, however, when they were once spotted arguing during a dinner. According to reports, the former couple was at a restaurant together when they started really getting into it. Witnesses claim that the actress was upset about something and even threw her hands into the air at one point. Nicholas apparently also got very frustrated as he started shouting at her. Jennifer had apparently had enough with him and broke down as he stormed out of the restaurant. Seems like it was a bit of a mess, but it's great that the former couple have since been able to move on with their respective partners. Number 3. Simon Cowell and Lauren Silverman. This was not just one explosive fight, but actually several. The lid was really blown off the couple's relationship problems when paparazzi captured photos of them in March last year having a tense argument while walking with their son Eric. According to The Sun, passerbys noticed that the X Factor judge had a face like thunder, and their arguing was so loud almost everyone could hear them. In fact, it was reportedly so bad that Lauren got fed up and had to walk away from Simon, while the former American Idol judge decided to cross the road to the other side to put some distance between them, and he walked the rest of the way on the other side of the street. But that wasn't the first time that the pair had a fight in public. In fact, back in 2013, the couple were seen shouting at each other inside a car in New York City. They were even photographed in the middle of an altercation while sitting in the back of an SBU in broad daylight with their windows down. Simon had his hands in the air and Lauren looked like she was crying. I guess it goes to show you that celebrities really are just normal people. Number 2. Beyonce and Jay-Z. Yes, I'm about to talk about the infamous sushi fight. So in 2016, the paparazzi caught the power couple dining at a sushi park restaurant in LA. And from the photos which surfaced online, we can tell that they really got into it. It showed them having anything but a pleasant sushi date. Beyonce was yelling and waving her finger at Jay-Z while he looked like he was glued to his phone the whole time. They say that it's rude to use your phone at dinner, but even worse, he just seems like he wasn't listening to her at all. The truth is, we'll never know what started the public argument, but it wasn't the first intense fight that they've ever been in. This all took place 2 years after the bizarre elevator fight at the 2014 Met Gala between Jay-Z and Beyonce's sister Solange, when she started attacking him by punching and kicking him in an elevator, all while the bodyguards eventually had to restrain her. It was really quite funny because Beyonce was just standing there and watching it all unfold. The three artists did make a joint statement about the incident, which read, quote, "They both have apologized to each other and we have moved forward as a united family." And coming in at number 1, Shia LaBeouf and Mia Goth. The controversial actor Shia LaBeouf has had some seriously messed up allegations brought against him in recent years, but this fight was just so bizarre that it deserves a place on the list. The actor and his former longtime girlfriend Mia Goth, who has recently starred in the horror movie X, got into a heated altercation in Germany in 2015 that was all captured on video. The argument occurred on the streets and got so bad that a few locals had to intervene. Shia was heard shouting, quote, "I don't want to touch a woman, I don't want to hit a woman, but I'm being pushed. He then got into a random person's car and had them drive him to the airport. He later told that same person that if he had stayed there, then he would have taken her life. But they seem to have made up after the fight and even got married in 2016 in Las Vegas, only to split up 2 years later. The relationship was probably a complicated one because in 2020, People magazine reported that the pair was spotted together wearing wedding rings. Hopefully they parted for good because they seem to be extremely toxic together.
Kicking off our countdown at number 10 is the time that Zac Efron dropped a condom on the red carpet. This is not fake news, you guys. This is very much real. To make matters worse, it was on the red carpet of the Dr. Seuss The Lorax premiere, which isn't the first movie you normally pick to bring a condom to. Like, I just want to know, like, what were you planning for that night at a Dr. Seuss premiere? He ended up fessing up to it during an interview on the Today Show, but he couldn't really deny it anyways because it was all caught on camera. With a simple zoom in, you can clearly tell that it is a condom. Zac was just reaching in his pocket to pull some other items out, but then that fell out instead, and it just so happened to fall out directly in front of the paparazzi that was waiting for him. He ended up just laughing it off and said that he now does a full pocket check before going on the red carpet. Better to stay safe than sorry though. Am I right? I mean, it's not like a horrible message to be putting out there to his fans. Next up at number 9 is the moment that Jerry Seinfeld refused to hug Kesha. The moment went viral after it was caught on camera because it is painfully embarrassing to watch. I don't get secondhand embarrassment very easily, but guys, with this one I did. I just felt so bad for Kesha. Like, I can only imagine being so excited to meet like your celebrity crush and then this happening. So what happened was they were both on the red carpet at the Night of Laughter and Song event. Jerry was in the middle of an interview when Kesha rushed over to him all excited to meet him. She approaches him and tells him how much she loves him, and she goes in for a hug, and he just like completely rejects her.
Can I give you a hug?
No thanks.
Please?
No thanks.
A little one.
Yeah, no thanks.
The moment is so awkward. She tries to hug him like 3 different times, and he just keeps putting his hand up and saying no. What hurt her even more though is the fact that when she walked away, he asked the reporter who that was. He didn't even know that it was Kesha. But the two have spoken since the incident, and Jerry said that she was very nice about it and that they laughed it off. And if you are wondering, no, he still has not hugged her. Sliding into number 8 is Jennifer Lawrence. One day we will all be telling our grandkids about the time that Jennifer Lawrence tripped up the stairs at the Oscar Awards. We won't have to just tell it though, we can also show them because it was all televised. She had just been called up to the stage to receive the Best Actress award for her role in Silver Lining Playbook, and she completely tripped and fell on her way onto the stage. She explained what happened and said that she remembers her stylist telling her to kick and walk, meaning kick the dress out while you walk, but then she got distracted and forgot. The dress tucked under her feet and she went down. It was pretty much just game over from there. But she did handle it like a champ. She laughed and then got right back up and went to get her award. In our number 7 spot is Justin Bieber pukes on stage. Back in 2012, it was the first night of his world tour and everything seemed fine at first. He was doing his thing, busting out his choreography, and singing his hit song Out of Town Girl, and then things suddenly took a turn for the worst. Out of nowhere, he turns his back to the crowd, bends over, and just puked all over the stage. He immediately rushed backstage while his dancers continued on, basically trying not to slip in his vomit. He eventually made his return to the stage, announcing that he was gonna just slow things down, but within a few songs, he was puking again. So he didn't just puke once, he puked twice. In front of everyone. He posted a picture to his Instagram after the show with him curled up in bed and captioned it, "Milk was a bad choice, lol." Why would you ever drink milk before a show? That's bad for your vocal cords, boy. I don't even sing and I know that. Milk. That is the worst idea I've ever heard. Moving on to number 6, we have 50 Cent's terrible baseball pitch. Now, why would anyone care if he can throw a baseball or not? Well, he threw what's been called one of the worst opening pitches in baseball history. He was asked to pitch the game ball for the Pittsburgh Pirates versus the New York Mets game, and it is a pretty big deal to be invited as the opening pitcher. But his throw was so brutal that everyone could not help but laugh.
His first pitch was not great.
just a bit outside.
He was torn apart on social media, but in a lighthearted way, of course, because it's not that serious. He didn't have much of an excuse for it, so he just made a joke about it and wrote on his social media saying, "I have a skeletal muscle injury on my left shoulder from excessive masturbation, so take it easy, lol." This just prompted like a whole stream of hilarious responses from his fans. But, well played, my friend, that is funny. He literally just like threw it to the left, like literally, I don't know where you were looking, but it wasn't that way. Halfway through list number 5 is Ashley Simpson's lip syncing controversy. It's hard to forget her epic SNL singing fail from 2004 that pretty much ended her entire music career. Now, I don't want to laugh at the fact that her career was affected by this humiliating moment, but at the same time, why you lip syncing, girl? You are a live performer.
On a Monday, I am waiting.
If you haven't seen this footage before, she was performing her song on SNL and the music track started playing behind her as she was starting to sing the song, but the timing was kind of off and she just got completely exposed for lip syncing. It was extremely awkward, and then you could tell that she didn't know what to do, so she just started doing this like weird dance Irish gig thing, which just made everything even more awkward and uncomfortable. Yeah, the whole thing was just pretty embarrassing. Here now at number 4 is Katy Perry's hilarious cake fall. Ever since she came into the spotlight, she's been known for her crazy costumes, rainbow wigs, and wild stage props, like a giant cake for example. During one of her performances at the MTV's Latin America Awards, Katy was singing her hit song I Kissed a Girl and she dived into a giant cake. Now you might think she could have settled for a fake one, surely they have cool props like that nowadays, but she chose the real deal instead. But when she got off the cake and was covered in it, she continued to sing but slipped and fell onto the floor. The best part was she kept trying to get back up, but she just kept slipping and falling down again. Like her guitar player is trying to help her and she just can't stay on her feet. She was falling all over the stage as she struggled to get up and stay on her feet, all while singing. It was honestly so great to watch. I don't mean to laugh at you, girl, but that shit's hilarious. In our third spot is Janet Jackson's iconic nip slip. This moment will forever be remembered, and it would have been even if it wasn't televised all over the world. It was back in 2004 when Janet paired up with Justin Timberlake to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. But by the end of their performance, they gave a whole new meaning to the phrase wardrobe malfunction. At the end of the song, they were performing some of their rehearsed choreography, and Justin was supposed to pull off part of her costume to relieve like more red costume underneath, but instead he exposed her bare breast. Not only to the crowd, but to the TV audience of over 140 million viewers. Taking over our number 2 spot is Steve Harvey announces the wrong winner. Back in 2015, he was asked to host the Miss Universe pageant, which means you only have one job, to announce the winner. He proved to be a reliable host for 3 years, so people were shocked when he announced the wrong winner and didn't realize it until after everyone was celebrating her win. Like she literally did the flowers, the crown, everyone was cheering. Yeah. He announced that Miss Columbia had won the competition, but then realized that she was actually the runner-up, and the actual winner was Miss Philippines.
I have to apologize.
He actually had to walk back on stage and revoke his declaration and then tell Miss Philippines that she is not in second place, she is in first place. The whole thing was super uncomfortable to watch, and you can't help but feel so heartbroken for Miss Columbia, who just thought that she had won the entire thing and then had it taken away. Taking our number 1 spot is Fergie peed herself on stage. She recalls it as the most unattractive moment of my life. She's the first to admit that it was one of the lowest points of her career. Back in 2005, she was performing with the Black Eyed Peas and says that she was rushing to get on stage because they were late. It was a Friday and they were driving down the freeway, so they got stuck in horrible traffic. They knew that they had to start the show immediately when they got there, so she didn't have time to go to the bathroom beforehand. While they were performing Let's Get It Started, she started running across the stage and began jumping around, and that is just when it came out. Literally. She said that her adrenaline was going and it just kind of happened, and she was so embarrassed. Despite the pee though, she kept on singing like nothing had even happened, even though it was super obvious to the crowd and the whole thing was caught on camera. I don't mean to laugh, girl, but you know what? We've all pissed ourselves at one point in time. So no shame, don't even feel bad. Not quite like that though.